What's the best thing that happened to you in Truth or Dare? In high school, I was dared to play gay chicken, which is where two straight guys pretend to be gay and the first one to chicken out loses. The other guy and I are both really stubborn, and neither one of us wanted to lose. We've been married 14 years and we run a bed and breakfast in Vermont with our adopted daughter. If that dude doesn't chicken out soon, I'm gonna start suspecting he's actually gay. Edit. For people lurking through my post history, you're right, this post isn't really true. I thought I'd post a joke for a couple of laughs and a handful of upvotes. I did get dared to play gay chicken in high school though, and both of us realized that neither one wanted to stop, which turned into a 3-year relationship that ended when we went our separate ways after high school. I ended up marrying a woman and we recently moved to Vermont with our biological children. She runs the bed and breakfast while I'm at the office. If things had gone just a little differently in my life, it would have ended up just like the original post. I should have just posted the real story, and I'm sorry if the truth is disappointing to anyone. My high school boyfriend and I actually broke up in large part because of all the overt hatred and ostracism we received from the community. Back then, I never would have dreamed of 30,000 people supporting us. Thank you for your kindness. I'm surprised that any of what OP said is true. I feel like I've seen this joke around a lot. It's nice to know there's a nice story behind it, at least for OP. Story 2. A girl was dared to spend 10 minutes in a dark room nearby den with the guy of her choice. She chose me. Turned out to be a setup. Her best friend knew that she had a crush on me and made this happen. Anyway, it was the hottest, fastest makeout session to date for me. We were both naked above the waist and she had her hand in my zipper. At 10 minutes, there was an unwelcome knock on the door. Story 3. I was about 12 at a friend's sleepover. I was dared to go home by a kid who didn't like me too much. I walked the 2 miles to my house, and as I came to my driveway, my older brother had just pulled in. He had 3 baby raccoons with him because he had hit their mother while delivering pizza. I got to spend the rest of the night with him, 3 raccoons, and a cheese and pepperoni pizza watching Nightmare on Elm Street. What an insane jerk move being dared to go home is, though. Like, that kid is just evil. Story 4. I went to an acquaintance's birthday. We spoke maybe 10 times prior. After a while, she was down to just her bra and panties. That's when she was dared to seduce me. Well, she was kind of awkward, so her version of seduction was just to tackle me while we were both near naked. That was a great night, and we're celebrating our first year of marriage next weekend. Story 5. I was a late bloomer in high school. By the time I realized I may be attractive to anyone, it was over. Our senior year party for an art school, we played this. A girl I had a fairly solid crush on, popular cheerleader, a good friend, was asked who she had fantasized about, and I was the answer. 1. Blew my mind. 2. Gave me the guts to ask her out. 3. It was a horribly awkward, silly lunch date. 4. Built my confidence a lot heading into college. A silly story, but it was a good one. Story 6. I chose truth every time because I was super boring and had nothing to hide. I got made fun of that weekend, but Monday morning, the nasty wannabe popular girl went around spreading everyone's secrets, as well as the ridiculous dares they did. Everyone except for me. Boring for the win. Story 7. Hijacking to share my worst. When I was in high school, we played Truth or Dare Jenga. I was the first to get a dare piece and I did the dare. I had to blow in some guy's ear. Fine, a little embarrassing, but that's what you do. The next time a dare came up, they refused to do it. Everyone was like, okay. The next few people also refused to do their dares. I was like, what? One girl said, nobody actually does the dares, with a withering tone that might as well have said, you idiot. Screw those guys. Story 8. Me and my friend were at a friend's house and they dared me to go to her room and bust a nut in her underwear while she watched. Well, I cannot complain. That pair of underwear was hella soft. Story 9. I played Truth or Dare in a pub in my hometown. It was pretty normal for me and my friends and their friends to play that there because none of us were afraid to do anything, except getting naked or something like that. I got dared to kiss a girl to my right. Decided not to do so even though she was up for it. Later that evening, I saw her with her boyfriend. I'm relieved that I decided to dodge a bullet there. Story 10. I was 16 and my group of friends were sitting in a sauna. Everyone was covered up by a towel, when one of the girls said we should play Truth or Dare. I got dared to show my dong to one of the girls, so we went out to the changing room / showers that attached to the sauna and I showed her my dong. And she gave me my first handy and later that night we banged. Ended up together for about 6 years before I found out she'd been cheating on me, like, a lot. Story 11. Not me, but I was at the circle doing it. One of the really hot girls there was dared to, without her hands, take the Invisalign out of the guy's mouth sitting next to her, and have it in the entire night. Everyone went quiet and looked at her. Without hesitation, grabs the guy and with her tongue, takes it out of his mouth and into hers. She was supposed to keep it in the rest of the night, but it didn't fit her properly, so she only had it for about 30 minutes. Most ballsy thing I've seen anyone do. Story 12. Got to play my very first and only Truth or Dare game when I moved to the US for college, with a bunch of people who I would characterize as moderately to severely religious. I wasn't, but those were the first people I had met, so I went with it. Needless to say, it was tame and clean. Worst thing someone got dared to do was walk up to a stranger and sing the national anthem. Reading all the responses here, I never imagined the game could be so interesting and intimately charged. I definitely missed out. Story 13. Got dared to kiss my back then high school crush. Couldn't do it, not because I'm kinda shy, but because it was my crush, so I denied and got booed out. She later came to check up on me and asked if I want to do it now that others weren't around. Of course, I said yes and we kissed. First on the cheek and then normally. Afterwards, she giggled and told me she liked it. Nothing ever came of it, but I still think of her quite a lot these days. Story 14. My friend dared the girl I had a crush on to kiss me. She stared at me and said, "I can't do it, he's too ugly." And the other girl said the same thing. I ended up being ignored for the rest of the game. Good times. Edit. I was 12 when it happened. The event was one of the reasons why I grew up with low self-esteem. I'm over it now, but talking about it made me feel better, as I've never mentioned this tragedy before. Thanks, everyone. That friend, though, is a true friend. What an absolute bro move, even at the age of 12? Very nice. Unfortunate about the whole he's too ugly thing though, OP. Sorry about that. Story 15. It was a girl's 19th birthday and my buddy from high school was there. Everyone was being lame and awkward, so I suggested Truth or Dare. The game went on for a while, but people were getting progressively more naked and more frisky as most of them were drinking. I was the DD for another friend at the party, and the people staying were getting raunchier, so we split. The birthday girl and my high school buddy hooked up, and they've been together for about 7 years now and have a daughter together. Story 16. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. We were too old to be playing Truth or Dare, like 20 years old. My friend had only seen boobs in his dad's Playboys. He hadn't even kissed a girl yet. Some woman was dared to show everyone her breasts. My friend was silently stoked. He didn't cheer out loud, but I knew he was frickin' giddy. As the woman lifted her shirt and bra, some other goober leaned right in front of my friend and blocked his view. It was over before my friend could react. He complained about it for weeks, and we've laughed about it for years. Story 17. Rather tame compared to some of the stuff I've seen and may or may not be envious of in this thread. But one time when I was like 13, 14, playing Truth or Dare to sleepover, I was dared to walk into my friend's sister's room. They were 17 and 19. But one time when I was 13, 14, playing Truth or Dare to sleepover, I was dared to walk into my friend's sister's room. They were 17 and 19. Without knocking and just shout, "Boobs." The only condition I set forth was that I was allowed to bolt back to his room and lock the door so they couldn't beat me up. I did it, and all I saw was the confused faces of his sisters who had already gone to sleep, staring at my scrawny, shirtless, pubescent face yelling, "Boobs" at 2 a.m. Disappointing and anticlimactic as hell. But that's what happens when you don't have friends. Story 18. Had a girl whom I had a huge crush on. We were at the YMCA daycare playing Truth or Dare in the back. Somebody dared her to kiss me. I wasn't a bad-looking kid, but I certainly wasn't popular. We went to the closet and I told her she didn't have to kiss me if she didn't want to. She said, "I want to," and I had my first kiss. There were fireworks. Story 19. I had invited all of my coworkers over to my parents' house after work, including my crush. I was 19 at the time. The night was dying down and I drunkenly told my friend I was crushing hard. He said, "I got you." It was me, him, his girlfriend, and my crush, and he started daring all of us to do really friskily charged things. Moon, get naked, moan, etc. His girlfriend then dared her to kiss me, which she did. He then dared her to bang me, which she did. This was all consensual, by the way. The frisky energy had been building all night, and this was just a natural progression. She did have a big booty, though. Remember when I said it was a bro move back with the 12-year-old story? This is on a whole other level. This is like full-on fraternal twins kind of brother energy. Good for you, OP. Sounds like it was a good time. Story 20. Ask Susan, not her real name, out on stage tomorrow during assembly. You won't. Susan, by the way, was my crush through high school. She was top of our class and one of the fastest swimmers on our team, which I was also part of myself. And she was hella gorgeous. Basically, ask out your crush who is every single high school dude's dream girl. I did, in front of the whole school. It was embarrassing as hell. She walked off of stage on me. Half the audience laughed at me for my stupidity and I was crushed. But as a man of my word, I had to follow the dare, which my friends didn't expect me to actually do. The rest of the day I received a mix of jeers at my expense and pity at my rejection. And I just felt defeated knowing full well what I had just done over a stupid dare. But after school, while I was still reeling, she met me and, to my great surprise, she accepted. We dated for 2 years before we had to split for college. Story 21. In 8th grade, my girlfriend invited my friend and I to a party of about 8 people, and we were the only dudes. Started by playing strip poker, and my buddy rigged the deck so that we won, and got to see our first set of boobs from the 2 best-looking girls there. Played some Spin the Bottle, 7 Minutes in Heaven, and of course, Truth or Dare. Worst part of the story was the following week when some of the girls at the party were invited to a weekend school retreat with a couple of teachers. They began to tell the teachers some of the things that happened at the party. My mom was one of the teachers. Game over. People did this in 8th grade? What the hell? Maybe it's like the private/independent school kid in me, but I can't imagine this happening in 8th grade. That's crazy. Story 22. Once I got dared to jump off a bridge that was about 30 or 40 feet above water that was at most 5 or 6 feet deep. Did so, came out unscathed. Story 23. I was in the 5th grade and at a YMCA camp for the summer break. One day it was pouring rain, so like 5 or 6 of us kids took shelter in a shack-like thing while it was raining. We decided to play Truth or Dare and I got dared to kiss the girl next to me. I was nervous because she was cute, so I only gave her a little peck on the cheek. Then someone dared my friend to kiss the girl sitting next to him, and instead of a little peck on the cheek, they started making out. I later found out that the girl sitting next to me said she would have kissed me on the mouth if I had gone for it. Felt pretty stupid about that for a while. Story 24. I was with my girlfriend, one of her friends, and my best friend. We did some Truth or Dare. Everyone in the room kissed each other, with the exception being me and my best friend. We're not gay. And my girlfriend and my best friend. Later that evening, the girl randomly started blowing my best friend while me and my girlfriend were playing Guitar Hero in the same room. After that, she came home with us and we had a proper trio with her. That was one for the books. Story 25. So I have 2. I have a group of friends in school who often play Truth or Dare during class. A friend was dared to take off her bra, which she did under her shirt. Little did she know, her shirt allowed for her nips to be seen through. And no one pointed that out until much later, when she realized she hid under the table and took off her shirt before putting on her bra and her shirt back on again. I managed to see a nip under the table. This happened while we were 16, by the way. The other one happened back in 7th grade. I was playing with a very small group of friends, including my crush and her sister in my house. The sister went for some water and came back with a nice cup. She tripped and the water drenched my crush. Nothing was poking out, her shirt was just wet. She then went to the bathroom to change into her little vest she had and nothing else while her clothes dried out. When the time came, she had to put her clothes back on and headed to do so in the bathroom again. However, she forgot her now dry clothes and asked me to hand them to her. When I went to the bathroom, she was completely topless and didn't seem to care much. While this wasn't a dare, it happened during Truth or Dare, so it counts, technically. Anyway, I later learned she also had a crush on me, so that's probably why she did it. We later became a couple and lasted for about a month. Cool times. Story 26. Bear with me, I've wanted to tell this story for years. The Truth or Dare comes in at the end, but the context is what really makes the story in my mind. It was my 18th birthday. I was the baby of my class with a summer birthday, so my 18th was right in the midst of graduation party season. Everyone was excited about college, and trying to soak up as much time as they could with friends before moving away that fall. I was also freshly out of a toxic long-term relationship that I had stayed in for most of high school. My ex-girlfriend was controlling and jealous, but she was my first girlfriend and I had no context for what a healthy relationship was, so we didn't break up until shortly after I graduated. Over the past 2 years, I had let her slowly pull me away from my friends. Eventually, I hardly spent any time with them outside of school. Not to mention I was a bit of a wallflower and definitely an introvert to begin with. I was known as a pretty chill guy and either liked or at least respected by multiple social groups at my school, but I had very few close friends. However, things began to look up. My mom worked front desk at a luxury waterfront hotel in town, and she set me up in the biggest suite in the whole damn place for the night. She and my dad cooked a bunch of food for the party, bought me an ice cream cake, told me not to drink alcohol or trash the place, and left for the rest of the night. One positive side effect of being a studious goody two-shoes during high school is that your parents apparently trust you. But still, when I invited all my friends to my 18th, I expected to have fun, and for there to be a decent turnout. But I also expected that it would ultimately be a modest and forgettable party for a modest and forgettable guy. Instead, absolutely everybody showed up. Not everyone could stay long, but everyone came by to celebrate. We hung out in the pool, chatted, and generally had a great time. My friends surprised me with a ton of gifts, and a huge communal birthday card made from poster paper folded in half with the theme of Now that you're 18, you can enjoy. Taped to the center of the card was a Playboy centerfold with the words adult content written under it. There was also a box of cigarettes, a cigar, a pack of rubbers, a military application, a voting ballot, etc. I was almost crying by the time I finished going through it, because besides being hilarious, it was really thoughtful. It was so meaningful for me to realize that my friends cared so much, even after I felt like I had neglected them all through high school. The party went on and it was pretty much everything I could have wanted for my 18th. But of course, like any gathering of teenagers in good spirits without parental supervision, we eventually got into playing Truth or Dare. Even without the aid of alcohol, all topics naturally quickly devolved into something related to frisky or nudity. Now, I was a virgin at this point, and my friends weren't the craziest bunch in school. So by frisky, I more so mean leaning out of a PG-13 amount of suggestive. A girl got dared to give a BJ to a hot dog. A guy got dared to strip and run outside to the outdoor pool and back, etc. The energy in the room had eventually gotten pretty naughty, but it was also getting late and we had been truth or daring for a couple hours at this point. Some people had to leave for the night, and we were down to a smaller group of about 10. Of these 10 were 3 girls, and all 3, in my opinion, were among the top 5 most attractive girls in my graduating class. So one of my guy friends, who was the craziest of this non-crazy bunch, decides to cap the game off with one final dare. A dare to all 3 girls that would serve as a final birthday present to me. Now, at this point, you probably have an idea about where this is going. That idea is probably wrong. This guy dares all 3 girls to finish the last remaining slice of ice cream cake by eating it off my stomach without using their hands. The girls giggle and then agree. I take off my shirt and lie back on a huge ottoman. They gather over me and maybe this is a wishful false memory, but I swear I remember them all saying, "Happy birthday," in unison with flirty voices before going at it. Over the next 5 minutes, my abs